It is 7:30 in the morning, but I'm chugging Busch Light before I go to math class for confidence. I want to tell you guys the story of how I went from extreme social anxiety to being able to calmly approach women in any situation without a drop of alcohol, and how I've helped other guys to do the same. I didn't always have social anxiety. Long story short, I smoked a lot of weed, played a lot of video games, isolated myself, and I developed it somewhere around high school. And it got really bad to the point where I could barely make eye contact with people. It was hard for me to make friends, to even go out into public. And so my dating life, honestly, I did have some girlfriends back then, but I wasn't a very confident guy. I had a huge filter, and I was relying heavily on Instagram DMs and dating apps. And so while I could meet up with some of these women from dating apps, I still had to meet up with them, right? So I would still have to talk to them eventually. I couldn't just hide behind a screen, although I was using that as a lead acquisition source. So when I would meet up with these women, I was very in my head. I wasn't able to express myself confidently, and I was awkward. So I knew there was no way around actually overcoming the approach anxiety, actually growing my confidence. I couldn't just hide behind a screen, although I could use that to get into contact with women initially. And I also just sort of got tired with solely relying on dating apps. I didn't like the unnatural aspect of scrolling through girls' pictures, hoping that girls liked my pictures. It just didn't appeal to me. I'm more of an outdoorsman. I'm more of a natural guy who likes to do things the old-fashioned way. And I wanted to unlock the ability to approach women. Like, it was a skill that I wanted to add to my toolbox, to my repertoire. And I knew at the same time that doing this would gain me massive confidence, I would develop my personality, etc. So it was really just a path that I wanted to take in life, okay? So I start going on YouTube, right? I start watching how to get girls videos like the one you're watching right now. And I really go down the rabbit hole of watching video after video after video, which was a pattern that's very common in my past life when I used to overanalyze things a lot. So days start to pass, I'm watching more videos, weeks start to pass, months start to pass, and I'm barely approaching any girls, maybe one or two a week. And it was like a half-ass attempt where I'm not really even committing, and I was still very awkward, okay? Because I was doing this completely solo. I had no accountability. Look, my friends weren't doing this. My friends are all, let me scroll on Tinder all day because that's the modern generation, right? And so I really decided, okay, I need to get some help with this. I really wanted to unlock this ability, so I ended up getting a coach to help me. And I didn't know anybody who had ever got a dating coach before. Like, that was such a foreign concept to me. I knew some people were in therapy, I knew some people got a personal trainer, but dating coach, never heard of something like that. But at the same time, I also didn't know anybody who could confidently approach women like the dating coaches, that I saw. My friends could approach women, but only after getting belligerently drunk. And just because you can approach a girl because you're belligerently drunk doesn't necessarily mean that your approach is the best, that you're gonna get anywhere, right? So most guys can do that. Doesn't mean they can do that when they're sober, right? So I wanted to get help with this. And I realized, okay, well, if people hire a physical trainer to help them in the gym, it's no different than me hiring a coach to help me. This guy has years of experience from his own experience, from helping a bunch of other guys, and he's able to condense that down and give me the patterns, the principles that he's learned to help me. And then also hold me accountable and give me the motivation. There's a lot of things in life that you can do alone, but there's a common saying, like it takes a village to raise a child, right? oftentimes we overlook the human aspect of actually seeking out help and seeking out, brotherhood. The first thing my coach really helped me with was helping me realize that I needed to make some lifestyle changes that were massively contributing to low testosterone, social anxiety, and social isolation, okay? And these were things that I probably should have figured out by myself, but hearing it from a guy who had experience, from a guy that I respected, his words held a lot more weight than my own thoughts, right? So these were things like quitting smoking weed all day long, stop scrolling on Instagram all day long, right? Getting in the gym, meditating, starting to live a lifestyle that was conducive to high testosterone, which contributes to your libido, your masculine energy, your will to even go out and meet women in the first place, which I didn't really have, living in a video games, Doritos eating lifestyle that I had before. So that really helped me out a lot. The second thing that was massive, that was literally changed my world, was systematic desensitization. So this was basically a process that he brought me through that gradually exposed me to each level of discomfort regarding women, regarding approaching women, until I could move up to the next level. Okay, so it's sort of like this. Let's say that somebody was afraid of heights. So the first thing that a therapist or a coach might help them do is first get into a relaxed state of mind and then imagine themselves just in their head up at the top of a building or in a plane or something. Now, once they become comfortable with that, then they can move them to the next level. Like, okay, let's have you stand on a stool. So do you see where I'm getting with this? And so my coach helped me progress with women in a systematic, gradual way so that each step of the way became harder until I was just doing the approach and I was no longer afraid of doing this at all. And this is exactly what I help guys do who have approach anxiety. Not every guy who comes to me has approach anxiety, but a lot of them do, and I'm able to help them overcome that with this same method. Okay, so the next thing that happened was I started to do real approaches, right? Where I was really asking for the girl's number, I was really setting up dates. And I remember this one approach specifically in a Barnes & Noble's where I was talking to this absolutely stunning girl. She was a very attractive blonde, like 10 out of 10. And at the time, I was not used to talking to women that attractive. It wasn't really a part of my identity that I felt like I was worthy of those women. So I'm talking to her, and I remember feeling my face just turn beet red. I could feel myself blushing, and as I'm talking to her, I know that she can see me blushing even, so I'm getting really worked up. I end up not getting the number, and I leave the Barnes & Nobles. And I really freaked out about this situation. I made a big deal about this situation, and I was telling my coach about this situation, and he helped me with a lot of mindset shifts. So he really helped me realize that these situations, they don't matter at all, okay? The girl is gonna forget about this situation within the next 15 minutes. All right, we are, floating on a rock in space. We are advanced monkeys, maybe, I don't know. But this world is not that serious as we tried to make it. So that's the first thing. The second thing, like mindset shift that he really helped me with was understanding that I need to play to win. So before, I was caring so much about my emotions, like, oh, how do I feel when I approach this girl? How do I feel when this girl is not opening up to me immediately? She's being a bit difficult. Or when I get rejected, how do I feel after? So I was so worried about how I felt, and I was not worried about winning, about getting on dates, about having success with women, right? So none of these things matter. Like, it doesn't matter how much you get rejected. What matters is winning in a real sense of, am I actually getting on dates? So I stopped caring about emotions and I started caring about winning. That's just another example of a huge mindset shift that he helped me make. And there was many more along the way, along the process. And the final thing that really helped me when I got to the coach was basically telling me what to say. And when I say that, I don't mean he told me the exact words to say. Like he gave me a script that I literally repeated in conversations with women, but he taught me the frameworks. He taught me the system of how do I bring a girl who's a complete stranger on the street on a date, etc., into a relationship. Okay? So there is repeatable processes in nature for how things are done, all right? And there is a repeatable process for how to attract women. Most guys who are sort of normies, they just sort of wing it, right? They go up to a girl, they pester her with a million questions, and they don't really know what they're doing, so they get mediocre results. But if you focus on studying this area of your life, if you focus on testing, doing this thousands of times, you start to realize there's a system, like there's a repeatable, process. There are frameworks for being able to achieve this. And so once you know the frameworks, then you know sort of basically the waypoints that you need to take a girl through in conversation. And once you know that, then your confidence increases a lot because you're no longer like guessing. You're no longer seeing a girl and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna completely wing it. No, but you see a girl and you know you're gonna express yourself differently with every girl, but you know the waypoints and you know basically what you're doing. All right, so that gives you a lot of confidence. And then, along with that, something that my coach helped me do and that I help my clients do is doing specific exercises to become better at flirting, to become better at teasing, exercises to be able to talk forever, to never run out of things to say. And literally, we would get on a call together, and this is what I do with my clients also, and he would take me through these exercises, and I became really quick to tease. I became really witty with flirting. I became, it's very seldom nowadays that I run out of things to say in a conversation because I've just drilled this stuff over and over and over again. Now talking to women, but also in my own time with the exercises that I learned. All right, so all of these things, a combination of lifestyle changes, systematic desensitization, mindset changes, and understanding the frameworks really helped me overcome my approach anxiety and become able to literally do this as my dating strategy. I mean, sure, you can go on Tinder. Sure, I can go on Tinder and get dates if I want to, but the thing is, I'm in love with cold approach. I enjoy meeting women out in person, and I just think it's very fulfilling. I also love helping other guys do this because I remember when I didn't have this skill and it wasn't very fulfilling, my dating life. Let me just say that. If you're a guy that wants to transform his social confidence and you want to start going on more dates with higher quality women and you want my help with this stuff, click the link below. I'm doing a few coaching calls for free this week. I'll see y'all in the next one.